Hey everyone, there's finally a game update coming to Marvel Rivals, version 2025-0110. Balance Post, Season 1 begins. As Season 0 draws to a close, our analysis of battle data has revealed significant shifts in team compositions within regular matches, showcasing a vibrant diversity of lineups. However, as the skill level escalates, compositions centered around double shields and ranged have displayed considerable prowess. Despite this, players have continuously honed and experimented with new compositions and strategies, further enriching the battlefield. For example, a potent combination featuring Psylocke and Star-Lord has brought unparalleled map control through high mobility and formidable mid-range damage, while pairings like Namor and Winter Soldier emphasize defensive counterattacks, fortifying the rear lines and seizing opportunities for combat advantage. Whether formations revolved around Hulk's might, or Adam Warlock's team-up abilities, or a selection of heroes tailored for specific scenarios. Um, it became clear that players are delving deeper into the world of Marvel Rivals. So that's basically what they had to say as a summary. As the adjustments themselves for the Vanguards, Captain America is getting a couple changes here. So they are going to reduce the delay timer for the shield restoration after releasing Living Legend from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. They are also reducing Liberty Rush cooldown from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. They're increasing his base health from 650 to 675. So that's going to be pretty nice. Same with the Liberty Rush cooldown. And then finally, they are reducing the energy cost for releasing Freedom Charge, his ultimate, from 3,400 to 3,100, and it also will reduce the additional health provided per second to self after releasing it from 110 to 100. So basically, you're supposed to get your ult up a little bit faster. It might happen more often, maybe. We'll have to find out. That could actually be a huge change, and that's kind of why they're probably doing like a buff and a nerf at the same time. Like, it still might overall be a buff. The rest of the changes are a buff, though. Okay, moving on. We have Doctor Strange. We will be reducing the threat range and increasing the defense window of the Sorcerer Supreme. Now, they plan on doing this by adding damage fall off to Maelstrom of Madness and Gamma Maelstrom, which is his shield bubble that bursts, I guess, starting at 5 meters and reducing it to 70% at 8 meters. That's very significant. That means he's pretty much only going to be using that against people that are directly on top of him for the most part. 8 meters is, I think, in game, that's a pretty small area. Uh, they're also going to decrease the shield value recovery rate after releasing Shield of the Seraphim from 80 health per second to 70 health per second. Which just means he's going to be a little bit worse off against range whenever it comes to taking a lot of damage and waiting for the shield to restore. Alright, moving on. We have my one trick, Thor. They are doing slight increasements to his survivability, and they are bolstering his ultimate. His base health is going from 500 to 525, which is nice. And then he is going to be immune to crowd control effects during God of Thunder, which is his ultimate. Previously, his ultimate was extremely cancelable, to the point where you pretty much had to be skilled to use it correctly. So yeah. Now, there's a couple things that still stop it. Like, damage will still stop it, I'm pretty sure. But you're not going to get Penny stunned or, like, whatever. You know what I mean? It's not going to cancel from those things. Yeah. So it's going to be a very slight buff. Because, like, I mean, I've had my ult canceled before. It happens. But I think I'm at the point where I'm playing him and I'm landing ults and I'm getting kills with my ult more than I'm not. And if I'm not getting kills, and I'm popping like Luna's ult, like the enemy's Luna, or like Mantis's ult. So overall, it's okay. I mean, it's an alright buff. It'll help people in lower elo, anyways. Um, with Hulk, they are doing a small nerf with him. They're reducing the indestructible guard gamma shield value for Hero Hulk from 250 to 200. With Venom, they are increasing survivability and doing a little bit more base, giving his ultimate a little bit more base damage. So they're increasing the symbiotic resilience bonus health ratio gain per lost health from 1 to 1.2, which is going to be a significant amount at the end of the day, considering how much bonus health he already gets from it. Um, and then he is going to have his base damage increased from Feast of the Abyss from 40 to 50. Now we're going to move on. We have the duelist changes here. This is pretty lengthy. Black Panther, they are reducing his combat survivability by reducing the additional health provided to self after refreshing vibranium marks with Spirit Rend from 40 to 30, and the upper limit of the additional health provided from 120 to 75. I don't play Black Panther, but he seems to be a menace for our backline, and as a Vanguard, it's very difficult to deal with them. Penny's good with her mines. If your supports are playing around your Spider Bot or Spider Nest, whatever, he's difficult to deal with for some people. For Black Widow, they are buffing her. Yeah, they're just buffing her across the board, it seems. Yep. Increase the range of the first effect of Edge Dancer from a 3-meter radius to a 5-meter radius. Reduce the time required for Fleet Foot to recover from 0 stamina to full from 12 seconds to 4 seconds. Oh, that's huge. Reduce the time required for Electroplasma Explosion, her ultimate, to reach maximum power from 1 second to 0.6 seconds. That's a very big buff. With Hawkeye, they'll be decreasing the medium long range damage capability, reducing the threat combat radius, and slightly improving the close combat resistance for the Avenging Archer. Slightly reduce the spread angle between every 2 blast arrows, and then they are reducing the triggering distance of the passive ability, Archer's Focus, from 60 meters to 40 meters. Reduce the maximum damage of the passive from 80 to 70. I don't play Hawkeye, so I don't actually know how impactful that is, but I don't think that's terribly impactful. I mean, maybe the passive changes. I'm not too sure about the blast arrows though. All right, now we're going to move on for Hela. Um, her health is being reduced from 275 to 250. Nice. What a nerf. Uh, magic. With magic, they are increasing Umbral Incursion damage in Darkchild form from 115 to 135. Okay. I don't get to play DPS, so it's for you guys, not for me. Uh, Moving on, we have Moon Knight. They are increasing the number of talents generated by Hand of Khonshu, his ultimate ability, from 10 to 14, and he's going to have an increased explosion radius of each talon from 4 meters to 5 meters. That's going to be a pretty decent buff to his ultimate, but there aren't any specific changes besides that. Um, with Namor, they are adjusting the throw feeling of Monstro spawn and Frozen spawn, and he can throw more accurately at to a desired location. With Psylocke, um, Dance of Butterflies, which is her ultimate, will check for barriers, including Magneto's metal bulwark, Hulk's indestructible guard, etc. That effectively means that Magneto's metal bulwark and Hulk's indestructible guard might actually be able to cancel at least part of the damage that her ultimate's doing. Her ultimate has a lot of value as a DPS. I think her ultimate is extremely strong. It's kind of up there with the support ultimates, especially on domination maps, but it's also good whenever you're trying to defend a convoy. It's pretty nice. Next up, they are slightly reducing the spread of deliverance and education for the Punisher. So that's going to increase the damage capability. Next up, for Scarlet Witch, they are increasing Chaos's controls fixed damage from 50 per second to 60 per second. That's kind of crazy. And then they are reducing the percentage damage per second from 5% to 3%. Okay. So it's more balanced then, maybe. They're increasing uh Chthonian bursts projectile damage from 30 to 35. Um so next up there's Storm. They are changing a lot of things about her, it looks like. So she is going to have increased wind blade projectile speed from 100 meters per second to 150 meters per second, and left click damage from 50 to 55, increase bolt rush damage from 70 to 80. After releasing her ultimate, Omega Hurricane, the bonus health provided for herself will be increased from 350 to 450. And then after it's done, the extra health will no longer vanish instantly, but instead diminish at a rate of 100 per second. That's a really good change, actually. Her ultimate can sometimes be impactful if you're not a Vanguard. Um, I think this is a good buffer storm, though. Next up, they are buffing Squirrel Girl. Addition of the new effect to the unbeatable Squirrel Tsunami, her ultimate ability. The squirrels will rush toward the nearest enemy after bouncing instead of bouncing randomly. Oh, that's actually kind of spooky. That's a huge buff. However, they are reducing the Squirrel Tsunami health from 600 to 300. So basically, you're going to be kind of screwed if you're really close together. Like, she's pretty much made for choke points, just like Moon Knight. That's where you'd be playing Squirrel Girl, especially with her ultimate. It'd be crazy. Like, whenever you have the convergence map on 2099, that little corridor, well, actually, any of the corridors that go into the main area that you have to capture, Squirrel Girl would be perfect for it, especially with her ultimate. Like, it's just gonna keep going after people, basically. Um, and people don't really pay attention to where it is, so it catches people off guard because it does bounce randomly. So whenever that change is implemented, she's gonna be racking up some takedowns. Next up, we have Wolverine, or bleh, not Wolverine, Winter Soldier, and they are increasing the bonus health provided by his hook and tainted voltage from 30 to 40. They're increasing rotor stern's projectile damage from 70 to 75, reducing the area damage from 70 to 65, and reduce damage decay from 65% at 40 meters to 60%. And they're increasing his base health from 250 to 275. Wow. He is going to be crazy. Utterly crazy, it sounds like. The only thing that's like, this is the only thing that's kind of a nerf. Well, I don't even think that's true. This part's a nerf. I don't know about this part. I think this is actually a buff. I don't play Winter Soldier, so I'm not too sure. But this sounds very broken on paper. Winter Soldier and Squirrel Girl are going to be taking down teams very frequently. Storm's getting a decent sized buff. Scarlet Witch is going to be better against duelists or strategists, but a little bit weaker against tanks. Which is kind of what she's mainly picked for, I feel. Like, it's between... Scarlet Witch is good against anti-dive because she has lock-on damage. So she might be okay on paper against something like Black Panther or whatever. But Black Panther has way more damage output faster. So it's difficult to play Scarlet Witch. Hopefully that's going to make a difference, though. Anyways, moving on. With Wolverine, they're increasing his base health from 300 to 350 and reducing the damage reduction ratio provided by Undying Animal from 50% to 40%. Oh boy. Um, so it's kind of like a give and take situation. I don't know if I'm happy about this as a Vanguard or upset about this as a Vanguard. We'll have to see. On paper, it looks like I'm upset about it, but we'll have to see whenever it comes up. Next up, we have Strategist. There is Cloak and Dagger. With them, they are reducing the Dagger Storm cooldown from 15 seconds to 12 seconds. That's a nice buff. That means they're going to be able to use Dagger Storm more often. That's the blue bubble that they put out that gives healing. And then they are increasing the number of dashes in their ultimate from 3 to 4. It's already really strong. What the hell? Yeah, okay. Well, Cloak and Daggers just gets massively buffed, basically. Dagger Storm cooldown is going to... That might actually change a few things about, like, their character's ability rotation. That's... 3 seconds is pretty big. And their ultimate's going to be more impactful. It's going to last for the same amount of time, though, but that should be enough to be able to control pretty much any domination map. Next up, there's Jeff, the Land Shark. So they are adjusting the ultimate ability from, they're adjusting the ultimate range from a 10-meter sphere to a 10-meter radius and a 5-meter high cylindrical spell field. That's basically just to be a better visual indicator. And they are increasing the healing of Joyful Splash from 140 per second to 150 per second. So overall, there's some visual communication, and then there's a buff. So we'll have to see how that plays out. On paper though, Cloak and Dagger got a huge buff. With Luna Snow, they are increasing the interval for switching between healing and damage, and Fate of Both Worlds from 0.1 second to 0.5 seconds, and that's going to prevent players from abusing its healing capabilities. That's good. That means that you actually have to think about how you use her ult instead of just, you know, flick between the two. I mean, you still will be able to flick between the two. It just won't be as often. Actually, it's going to be a whole lot less often, given the duration of the ultimate and how many seconds it changed to. With Mantis, they are reducing Nature's Favor passive movement boost from 2.5 meters per second to 1.5 meters per second. This basically means that she's going to be easier to dive. And she might have a little bit of a harder time keeping up with their teammates if they are not full health. That's the only time when this actually takes place, is whenever Mantis is at full health. Alright, with Rocket, they are increasing the healing of repair mode from 60 per second to 70 per second. I think Rocket's healing is better on close maps than on long maps, just because there's a lot less room for those healing bubbles to go, basically. So that's actually a pretty strong buff to him overall. Hopefully that's nice, because I like playing Rocket. I think he's a fun character. Going from there, they are also changing the team-up abilities. They are reducing Hawkeye's season bonus, which is damage. So they're reducing Hawkeye's damage from 20% to 15%. And then they are doing the same thing with Hela, 20% to 15%. Now, with Luna, Snow, and Namor, they're doing some crazy stuff here. This is insane. They're increasing the frozen spawn damage from 25 to 27. They're increasing the slowing effect from 25 to 30. They're increasing the berserk state damage from 16 to 18. They are incredibly strong for anti-dive. Incredibly strong. This is going to be a nightmare to play against as a dive player. Like, Luna, Snow, and Namor are going to give you a lot of grief. We'll see how it goes, though. Then from there, there's Rocket, Punisher, and Winter Soldier's team-up ability. Basically, they're buffing it by reducing the cooldown of Rocket's ammo invention from 45 seconds to 40 seconds. That's going to make a difference, but most matches are like 3-4 minutes-ish per round. So I don't know if that's going to be that significant, but yeah, you might be able to get some more usage out of that. And the Punisher is pretty strong still. They didn't touch him. The Winter Soldier is correct. He is going to be insane next season. So this is huge for the Winter Soldier. Next up, with Scarlet Witch and Magneto, they are increasing metallic fusion projectile damage from 55 to 60, and they are increasing metallic fusion spell field damage from 30 to 35. Okay. And then for Thor, Storm, and Captain America, they're reducing the cooldown of Charged Gale from 20 seconds to 15 seconds, and increasing the damage of Charged Gale from 50 to 55. Overall, as a Thor player, I'm kind of spooked about Winter Soldier. That's going to be crazy. I'm kind of spooked about Wolverine. That's going to be interesting to find out whether or not we're okay and able to actually duel him, or if Wolverine just takes everyone out like he is currently. And the only one who can stand up to him happens to just be Thor as a Vanguard. Cloak and Dagger is going to be seen more. Luna Snow is slightly nerfed, but she's way better with Namor. Namor is going to be a lot better with the team-up ability, but overall, I don't know how big this changes. It's just you could throw it better. In terms of the Vanguards, there really weren't too many impactful changes. They're basically, on paper, they're kind of nerfing Hulk. They're kind of nerfing Doctor Strange, but not by much as a Vanguard player. They're buffing Venom's survivability, and they're giving some quality of life to Thor with his ultimate and a very slight buff to his health. So yeah, that's all for the patch notes. Thank you all for watching, and feel free to check us out on Twitch. We stream quite often, and yeah.